Hello guys, we are back with another preview from Star Wars Destiny, and we are going to show you 2 exclusive cards, so stay tuned. We're also going to be running through the rest of the blue cards shown in the preview article posted by Fantasy Flight Games, so that we can all get hype together.
Hashtag hype.
Hashtag hype. Before you do that though, we have plenty more videos. If this is the first video that you've seen of ours, go check out our past videos. You can find those on YouTube, and also check out the articles that we've written on the blog. Also check out our store where we are selling Star Wars Destiny.
That's right.
And also, of course, check out Fantasy Flight Games where they are posting articles about Star Wars Destiny.
We have so much awesome Star Wars Destiny coming.
Check it all out. So, shall we dive into this thing?
Let's do it. You want me to kick it off?
We've got 2 cards. I don't know. Do I want to read that?
It's a hero card, so maybe I'll let you start.
All right, it's a hero card.
Here we go.
Let's kick it.
Yeah.
Kick it right off.
I'll let you take it.
Kick it right. No, actually, you know what? You should do it. You should do the first one because I know that Dad's coming up.
Dad.
Yeah.
Okay.
I want you to read it. Yeah.
All right. Luke Skywalker's lightsaber. It's unique, which means you can have 1 in play. Of course, it costs 3. It's a legendary, so it's one of the purple cards. Remember when you open a legendary, and a little squeal is okay. A 3 damage for a resource, a +3 melee damage, a 2 shield, a resource, a special, and a blank. Blue character only.
Even Luke's lightsaber misses sometimes.
Something about Luke's lightsaber means that only the blue characters can pick it up and use it.
Yeah.
It's a weapon. A special is give a character 2 shields or deal 2 unblockable damage to a character, which means it goes right past shields.
Very versatile.
Very versatile, and as you will find, fits right into the Jedi theme of shields.
Yes.
Shield or damage. So this card, what are your thoughts? I was less into this card until I found out about the upgrade discount.
The discard thing, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is a great mid game upgrade. You probably discard like a 1 coster to get it in for 2,
Yeah.
and I don't like 3 damage for 1. I mean, it makes sense thematically. I have a hard time with those dice that make you want to pay extra. It's like I've already paid enough to get this on the table.
It's on the board.
2 shields is super strong, +3 melee damage, obviously super strong.
2 unblockable is pretty strong.
2 unblockable, super strong. 2 shields, especially with decks that are going to have some shieldy type effects.
Manipulation, sure.
That's very important. So I think it's a great all-around lightsaber. You know, it's what you'd expect from Luke. It's right down the middle. Nothing fancy going on in the direction.
I say this a lot, and you always make a scally face, but to me, this is a 1 of in a deck. It's unique. I hate having dead cards. I don't want it early.
Because we can't draw more than 1 from a pack. That's why it's 1
That's
of.
also another. But really, this will be a 1 of. It absolutely will.
Okay.
Mark my words.
Yeah, actually, I could see that.
Just it's not a card you need all the time, but it fits right into the Jedi strategy. You get some extra melee damage.
It just doesn't
poke
make,
some damage through.
If it works, then only if the next card that you're going to cut your second lightsaber for is somehow better than Luke's lightsaber for what you're doing. We've all been down these deck building kind of.
We'll see what happens. All right, let's get to the next card. I think Luke's lightsaber is a good card.
Emperor's Favor. It is a 1 cost support. It has a very simple line of text. Your hand size is increased by 1.
Okay. First off, the art's great.
It's hard
I love
to get
this art.
excited about this card, isn't
Yeah,
it?
it just kind of does its thing. It's 1 cost. An extra card can be good, but again, you only have 30 cards. You're going to run out of cards.
I've not found myself in a situation where I particularly feel like I would have a significant advantage if I had 6 cards instead of 5 at the start of the turn.
I mean, if you get this, it is unique. Also, by the way, you can only have 1 of these in play.
That is one of the reasons to run 1-ofs, actually. I will cede that to you.
I was just talking about this.
I will cede that to you.
Because if you do get it early, you're not going to want to see a second one, ever. Yeah. It's okay. I think it's good. I would have to play a game.
I don't know, man. Because, the other thing you got to look at is it's 1 cost, which seems high to me, honestly.
If it were free, I would still be questioning whether
If it were free, I'd be questioning it, yeah. But it's 1 cost. It only matters some of the times that you even can play it, that you would play it. It doesn't really, because you're drawing back up in this game, it doesn't really provide you any sort of, significant advantage of being able to, see ahead and think ahead and hold on to all these special cards. It's only 1. You go through your deck faster, I guess.
I mean, if your deck is looking for a particular combo, there'll be slots for this. But again, are you going to play this and then you don't get this till the next
I'd rather play
turn?
cards that draw me new cards.
I'd rather have a draw card. 100%.
But maybe there's things, for instance, the opposite of, what is that, Mind Probe or whatever it is that does damage based on the number of cards in hand.
I think this is, oh yeah, Mind Probe.
There could be things in the game that say, deal damage based on the number of cards you have in your hand, or these kinds of things. So it's something to keep an eye on. I think straight out of the gate, this game plays fast. It plays very quickly, and I don't particularly feel like I have time for this kind of a card. But I'm not everybody.
Well, and I will say two things here. One, this is a nice little just ability to have in the game. In the future, it could slide in some decks. But two, I think what it really pinpoints, which is cool, is that right out of the start of the game with all the cards that are coming out, there are so many ways to build a deck.
Yes.
Because I do think there are legitimately, just from what we've seen, and that's a small glimpse into this big world, there are going to be card decks that this is actually useful for.
Okay.
Even if you really want to use this card, I think you can find a deck that effectively uses this card among others.
I believe that.
Yeah.
I believe it. I don't know if it's true, but I'll believe it.
All right, you ready?
I'm ready.
Are you ready? There's been an awakening. All right, next up we have the man, the myth, the legend, Darth Vader. Just pause there for a second. You can look at the card. He was slightly spoiled in the video that FFG announced with, and of course you pause it, you frame it, you zoom in, you see what's going on. I'm not alone. Don't even act like it. Not. 13 health, which is a lot in terms of stormtroopers. That's almost 2. Almost double stormtrooper. He cost a lot of points there. 16 points for one die.
Man, he's got a lot of points committed.
21 for 2. He's a villain, of course. He's a legendary as well. And let's run down his die. He has a 2 melee damage, a 3 melee damage, a 2 disrupt, a 1 shield, a 1 resource, a blank. He's a character. After you activate this character, you may force an opponent to choose and discard a card from their hand. That is not random. They get to choose. But anytime he activates and you roll his dice, your opponent has to discard a card.
Yeah. Which is solid, and it plays into some of the discard strategies that Darkseid is going to have anyway. I actually kind of I originally was thinking, man, I wish that Vader had some discard abilities on his die so we could really double up on that strategy. But honestly, this is a character that is providing control of everything. Like, he's doing a ton of damage.
Yep.
He's discarding your 2 resources, which is absurd. I mean, that's your turn.
That's a lot.
If you go, I mean, that could be the end of your turn right there if you roll it. And then just passively, he's controlling your cards as well. So you feel that kind of oppressive dark side presence.
Just from him being there.
Just from him being on the board.
And I think that's where it's, I've used him a lot in our games. And so you start with 5 cards in your hand, right? And if your opponent plays a card, they're down to 4. You activate Vader, they're down to 3.
Yep.
Things are already getting tight, right? If he rolls and crunches your resources, now you have 3 cards. How many of those can you not play?
Yeah, lots.
Very quickly, your turns are, do I want to discard a reroll?
Yeah, questionable.
Maybe get a thing. The other part of this, and I have not been using him very much in this way, but just with all the games we have played, I think this is the right way to use him. I think if you're going to spend the points on him, you spend all the points.
Yeah, it's very much a sunk cost problem with him.
It's like, I'm already, for 5 more, do I want another of this die?
If you paid 16 to get the die in the first place, would you not pay 5 to get the second die?
Well, and I think you'll eventually get to the point where you just have a certain amount of control elements in every deck too. Yeah. And so if you activate him and you get a die and you roll,
it's not impressive.
It's just like, oh, I'll remove it.
It's like, not impressive.
Bummer.
But the thing that 2 Darth Vader dice opens up is I can do 6 damage randomly, just all of the sudden.
Even 4.
5, 4. Like I have a pretty consistent 2 to 6 damage window that I'm probably going to hit at least 2.
Yeah.
So one of the dice is going to hit something. And then I can also get rid of 2 resources. And there's a pretty decent shot of that if you're rolling 2 dice.
Yep.
So there's strong effects here, and I think if you've got strong effects on a die for 16 points, get a second one, double those effects, make it really terrifying, and then try to find something else to put in the deck.
Well, and I think
9 points.
There's a lot to be said too of 13 health.
Yeah.
That is significantly more than any character we've seen. Luke was at 12. Or is it 12? We haven't gotten to Luke yet. Whoops, spoiler.
We'll get there.
Stay tuned. So he's got 13 health. That's going to take a lot to do. And you're going to have that problem of, especially if I have 2 dice on Vader, do I attack Vader or do I attack your other thing? Because you're not going to get more than one thing.
I've had a lot of success attacking Vader direct.
I think that's what you have to do, and that's what he calls for. So then the question becomes, can you destroy him?
Yeah.
It's on the curve, right? If I had 3 stormtroopers out, 3, say 8 cost characters randomly, you're going to destroy one of those faster than you would destroy Vader, and so you're removing dice. And so the tempo of your game is going to be
crazy.
1, 1, 1. But with Vader, you have to spend the first 2/3 of the game ultimately to get rid of Vader. Is it worth it?
Yeah, because those dice are popping the whole time.
The whole time.
Until he's down to
he's
0 health.
slamming.
So I think if you're going to run Vader, you need to realize this is an investment, a very significant investment. You are going to live and die by the success of Vader on
And that's
the board.
ultimately how it should
That's
be
what
with
you guys
Vader.
want.
That's how he
also.
should be
That's what you
designed.
Vader
So
people
I
want.
think it's a very good job.
So include some shields. I mean, get some defense in here. Try to protect this asset,
And
move
die
damage
control.
to other characters,
And just-
have some Guardian stuff going on,
Yeah.
that kind of thing. It's really smart.
Very good.
And it's just Vader, right? It just feels like, I think they did a great job. Like, this is just the universal presence of the Sith Lord.
You will
Vader.
feel his presence.
Very, very cool. Well, let's move on to Luke Skywalker, the Jedi Knight.
Who's that?
I've heard they're related. It's a 12 health character here, as we talked about earlier, and 15-20, so a little bit less than Vader.
1 point less than Vader.
Just 1 point, but I gotta tell you, 10 points seems to be a threshold for a lot of the more interesting characters. They come in at 10 points, right?
Yeah.
Do we see Django at 10 now? Did he get to 10? I can't remember.
He's close. He's close.
But having 10 points to spend on a second character is actually much better than 9.
Yeah, that's really the difference here with Vader and Luke. So Luke, again, letting you get a 10 coster in. Mm-hmm. That's the other problem with Vader, to me.
9
If
points.
you're going to spend 21, getting in, what can you get in for
Because
9?
a stormtrooper is like, I have 2 points left over. That's not enough. But then what do I throw in? What else is there?
So Luke, though, barely losing any stats, and their die is very similar.
2 melee damage, 3 melee damage. So far the exact same. But then trades out a 2 resource disrupt for a 1 focus.
Yeah, which is worse.
And then everything else is the same. One shield, 1 resource.
And his
a blank.
ability is awesomely compared to Vader's.
After you activate this character, draw a card.
So Vader, after he activates, your opponent has to discard a card. After Luke goes, you draw a card. They are literally the
inverse.
2 sides of the same coin.
Yep. 1 less health, a little bit worse die, and then 1 point less. And I think his ability is a little bit better. I think drawing a card is always on, always good. But
Discarding card's always on too.
I will say, I mean, if you get Vader to the end of deck late game, he has a win condition built into him.
And it's a problem, right? It's like, oh, you have 4 cards left in your hands.
That's actually significant. I was not thinking about that.
I've been there a lot, right? Yeah. It's like, but again, and I think that's what ultimately with Vader, you have to go at him early.
Yeah.
You have to send everything you've got at him, and if you don't have enough to take him out, you lose. Like, it's a landslide because you get 8 damage on him, and then you get down to this point where you don't have enough cards to keep re-rolling and doing enough damage, and you have shields and dice control. It's just what happens.
Yeah.
If you don't get rid of him fast enough, he controls you.
So it does seem like Vader having a solid strategy of sticking around, protecting, just not leaving the table will eventually win you the game by default.
Yeah.
Because Vader his ability
He
itself
forces
will make it happen.
it to happen, and
I like that a lot.
He pairs that with damage, right? So he can
Yeah.
also remove characters at will when it happens. And
Yeah, the pending clock of Vader.
Yeah.
But Luke, perfect foil there. Drawing a card, of course, is a great ability. So Luke, much better early on. It's going to let you get those critical cards like early if your deck runs on certain combos and things being on the table. Luke gets that for you and comes in at a very reasonable 15, 20 point spread.
I think I want to reiterate that 20 points is important.
Yeah,
Being
very
able to
important.
get 2 of his dice, which is as offensive as Vader's, and also still get a 10-point character in.
Yeah.
It's a real deal.
Serious.
All right, let's go to another
Jedi
Jedi here.
Luke. Oh,
We're going
look at that.
back to the prequels. We get Qui-Gon Jinn
He got worse than he deserved, I think.
in the movie.
Just by nature of his being in the situations and,
We don't,
and whatever. But
Anyways,
he's a pretty
Qui-Gon
cool
Jinn,
character.
11 health, so a little less than Luke. He is a rare, not a legendary. 13 points for 1 die, 17 for 2, coming in a couple points cheaper than Luke. He has a 1 melee damage, a 2 melee damage, a 1 shield, a 2 shield, a resource, and a blank.
Big 2 shield there.
And his ability is, before this character gains 1 or more shields, you can remove 1 of his shields to deal a damage to a character.
I really do like that.
That is really good.
I really do like that.
I think this is the foundation of the Jedi shield
Yeah.
jams. It's
Very
like you have
cool.
a shield, I'm going to add 2. Before I do that, I'm going to take 1 off, do a damage, and get 2 shields.
Yeah, that's really nice. I like this a lot, and I don't think you necessarily need to go to 17 on him. I mean, it's
not at all.
It's not a bad investment, but 13 is pretty reasonable for this 1 die and this ability and this 11 health and a blue character that's going to stick around, kind of tend to himself if he wants to, just keep stacking shields and putting damage.
I think Qui-Gon's great.
That's a good character.
I actually think he's, because of his point cost and everything, he's way more likely to show up than Luke.
Yeah.
But again, and it's cool, right? So Vader and Luke, I think when you choose to use them,
That's the deck.
that is the deck. That is the center focus. It is them. Qui-Gon can just be an ally.
Yeah.
Right? You can bring in 17 points of someone else. You can bring in a couple non-uniques.
You could even do, dare I say, like a Qui-Gon Luke if you wanted to.
Interesting times.
It's
I
28,
think
it's not
Qui-Gon's
ideal,
really
but-
good. I think Qui-Gon's stellar.
I like that. Yeah, yeah. Very
All
cool.
right, let's continue on. We get a hero card. It's an upgrade, a blue upgrade ability, 3 cost, force protection, 1
Twi'lek,
disrupt, 1 discard, 1 resource, 2 special sides, and a blank. Blue character only, so only the blues.
Only the Force
special
guys.
ability is give 3 shields to your characters distributed as you wish. So
There
good.
it is.
Man, this is so good. This is, again,
We
we're
found
getting, there's a synergy on the light side, or I guess not light side, the hero, blue characters. Every Star Wars game I've ever played has been light and dark side.
Yeah,
This
yeah.
is the first one that breaks that mold. I guess X-Wing is not. What am I, just
Well,
talking
you
out
know,
my ears here.
I was
Anyways, this ability starts the theme, right? This is the hero blue character theme. Shields,
so good.
which is great because it's not about offense or aggression. It's about survival. You just
And
play
you,
defense.
You know what's awkward about this? What's funny about it to me is like this is the exact card that I would want in that Darth Vader deck.
It is
I
hilarious.
can't put it there, but I would want
Yeah.
it there so badly.
Yep.
So great. I mean, yeah. Again, so you bring this in mid-game-ish, or if you're
As soon
really
as
feeling
possible.
juicy, as soon as possible with 3 costs. It's expensive.
It is, but you have a 1 and 3, and it's like if you don't deal with it, 3 shields. That's 3 hell.
Now here's the question: is 3 shields in your brain better or worse than 3 damage? I think it's better. Maybe. Ooh, a tough question. Because there are abilities that use shields, like Qui-Gon's ability, that very seriously, if this character is shielded, do X, remove shields to do X. So it's an asset to you, whereas damage is pretty much damage.
Well,
right?
damage is.
But it's also always good. Whereas you might not need 3 shields right now.
Yeah.
You might be all shielded up, ready to
100%.
go.
And there will be times when you're fully shielded, your opponent doesn't have a way to remove shields, you haven't done damage in a little bit, and this isn't doing anything for you. But the ability to always get 3 shields and the fact you can divide it among characters how you want,
Yeah.
I'm all in.
Serious.
Yeah. I think this card's great.
Well, shall I talk about Kylo Ren's lightsaber? 3 costs. Kylo Ren's lightsaber upgrade and a weapon. It is blue character only as well, and this is the villain side of things.
Let's see what we get.
3 damage melee for 1 resource, plus 2 melee, plus 3
That is
melee.
a lot of heat.
This is serious damage. You throw this on Vader with 2 dice, you're looking at 9 damage coming down the pipe pretty easy.
He can just, boom, Stormtrooper dead.
Just
Lights
boom.
out. Which is great, right? That's what you want. He just walks in and
1 shield, but it seems to be the kind of perennial blue card die. It always has 1 shield on it just to show you that, hey, the Force is alive in this one. And then we also have a single side that is a special symbol. And of course the blank. But the special symbol is one of my favorites so far in the game. This is legendary, by the way. Favorite thing in the game. Deal 2 damage to a character. If any of it was blocked by shields, re-roll the lightsaber die instead of removing it from
that
your
is
pool.
strong.
It's so good.
Yeah, and so,
So good.
What I like about this is it's a 3 cost upgrade. So if the special were do 2 damage, and that's all it did,
Yeah.
that'd be fine.
That'd be fine.
But it always will do that, right?
Yeah.
If they have any character with shields, you remove a shield, do damage, and get the die back.
So good.
That could be so much damage.
It's so good.
Such many damage.
And here's a question I had that I don't think we have the answer to. And it really doesn't make any sense to do this, but can you put shields in your opponent's stuff? I'd have to read the rule book again. So you guys can actually look that up and make sure. But like, there is a weird test case for like, I'll put 1 shield on you, and then I'll do 1
shield
damage
damage
net
thing.
and re-roll the die to maybe re-roll it into something better.
Well, and this ultimately,
I doubt you can do that, but it's worth thinking about.
I doubt it. Maybe
Yeah.
you can.
I doubt.
It depends on the cards, eh? All right. Well, speaking of shields, next up we have Intimidate. We
talked about this.
Covered this. 0 cost. We got Maul in the art. That's the coolest part of the card. Remove all shields from a character. Now that we've seen cards that give you a lot of shields, it does look better. But again, this card will only ever remove shields. Not a fan, right?
It's a meta card to me.
It is. If shields get too crazy,
Shields get good, run it.
having the option is good. But I think this card is middle of the road for me.
All right, me too. I'm still with you on
Now
that.
this next card.
I want to talk about isolation. So 1 cost event, spot a blue character to remove a character die. Oh, that's so good. What did we talk about in the red preview? We talked about it. You just put everything in your deck possible. Choose your heroes,
All of it.
choose your villains or whatever, and then whatever colors you're working with, all the remove a die cards.
Yeah. So it's a villain card, 1 cost. Important to note, character dice are the dice that come with the characters.
Yes.
It's not just things
Don't
that are attached to
forget
that
this
character.
too, because you will, in your early games, you'll think remove a die
Yeah.
is the same thing as remove an X die, but it's not.
It's not.
Character die means it has the character's face
And
on it.
as compared, so we did the red card previews.
Yeah.
And there's a 1 cost, remove all your opponent's dice that have a 2 or higher showing if you have the battlefield. This is a 1 cost, just remove a character die.
1 character die, yep.
Which is, I think it's totally worth it. There'll be times when this saves you so much damage. It's
good.
crazy.
It's great art. It's great down the line. It's right in the middle of the expense curve, I would say. I think it's perfectly balanced.
Yep.
This is kind of the granddaddy reference me when thinking about remove dice effects in the future. This is the one you want to
it's
look
the
at.
basic down the line. It's like the 1/1 resources in
Yeah.
games, right? It's like this is just the fundamental.
And it's only for villains.
Which
So
I
no
like.
isolation
So
for the Jedi Masters.
Now let's head over to the heroes for a second. Defensive stance, Qui-Gon's back, 1 cost event. Give a character 2 shields.
Yeah. And so the reason this is better than Intimidate, because I know you're wondering, you're thinking, well, Intimidate can get rid of 3 shields, which is stronger than giving 2, and it only costs 0, whereas this costs 1.
But this always gives you 2 shields.
It's always good.
It just, my opponent
always
doesn't
good.
have to do, or it just, they don't have to do anything. I just get 2 shields.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what your opponent's doing, you can get 2 shields.
Yeah, and for heaven forbid, you have a shield synergy style deck going on, right? And it's like Qui-Gon, this is a pay 1, get a shield, do a damage.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah.
I'm a fan of.
I'm a fan of that
you know
too.
What I mean?
I'm glad you said so.
So I think that's really good.
Hero
Thumbs up.
card.
2 thumbs up.
Good
Run
art
it.
there as well.
Put it in your Qui-Gon deck.
Qui-Gon looking good. Put it in the T there.
Put it in the T.
You got Force Misdirection? Is that you
Sure,
or is that me?
I'll do it. All right, we got Luke doing a Force Misdirection here. 1 cost event.
That's one of the classiest Lukes that I've seen.
He's like-
That's an interesting, yeah.
he's
It looks
very,
like he's
esteemed.
calling for an hors d'oeuvre or
It's
something.
a strong jaw there. It's a hero card. Choose a symbol showing on one of your blue dice. Remove all of an opponent's dice showing that symbol. Interesting.
Yeah. I love it and hate it at the same time. I think you start a deck with this card in it. And then you cut it as you don't need it.
I think it depends on how many removal cards you have access to.
Yeah.
So this to me is it's conditional because I have to have a result and my opponent has to have the same results going into my turn.
Yeah.
So it could be awesome, right? You could remove 3 or 4 melee damage or whatever.
Well, the thing that kicks it for me on this is the special symbols, right?
That's an icon.
So like, if I roll and my special symbol is showing on 1 die or 2 die, it doesn't matter. I'm gonna let that sit, because my opponent's probably wanting something in the same, and I don't have to remove or do anything with my die. I just have to see it, right?
Sure.
So it's like, it's a great way to control like Sith holocrons
You
and
know,
those
I
kinds
think
of
the
things.
funniest use of this is
What's that?
the blank.
Oh yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right.
It's like,
is that
rolled-
considered a symbol? It probably is, right?
I think, yeah, it's on this little card, on
One
this
of your
the
blue
stack
dice.
card.
Yeah,
So
then-
that could be hilarious. Because I, by the way, have had very bad rolls in this game.
Yeah, awful.
And I'm unwilling and I'm not willing to blame dice.
It's
ever.
still super fun. That's the beauty of it. Right?
Yeah, like not blaming
You still
dice
win,
here,
so-
but at the same time, it's like there's just be turns where it's like you have Vader, 2 dice with lightsaber, other lightsaber, mind probe. You roll and you get 4 blanks, and it's just like I could have done 12 damage here. That's what could have happened. Instead, none
bump.
is happening. I'm gonna fist bump, discard a card and do nothing. But in the event they roll, a couple blanks, and they're usually if you roll a blank, you want to roll more dice so that you can re-roll at the same time and be efficient. You get a couple more blanks, and then it's like I'll pay 1. All the blanks,
All of them gone.
just gone. So
I like it.
I'm
I
in the
like
middle
it.
on this card.
I think I tell you what though, when this goes, it is a game turning effect.
Sure.
And it's nice to have a few of those big effects just in case you need to
And-
really catch up.
I love 1 cost cards.
Yeah.
For
it's the right
the
cost.
fact that I can spend 1, probably still have 1 or 2. It's good stuff.
And we will have to see if if blank is a symbol, because it might be that there are 5 symbols and a blank.
And a blank. It's on those sheets.
have to
It's
watch
on the
it.
little cheat sheet.
It's true.
We
We just don't want to lie to the people out there.
That's right.
We
And if you
can't-
know better, then leave it in the comments. I'll just say that.
from reading the myriad preview articles and other things. We don't have like the extensive rules sheet,
The FAQ, which is inevitable.
I'm gonna talk about repost. 0
Give it
cost
to me.
event.
She looks awesome.
Hero. It does look awesome. Remove any number of shields from one of your characters, then deal damage to a character equal to the number of shields you just removed.
See?
Turn it around. Flip drop, sip it, reverse it. There
it's
it is.
It's a hero card. All right, this is incredible. Like the Jedi shield thing. It's like, I have 3 shields on a character and you're not doing damage. How about I just remove 3 and do 3 to you?
Yeah.
For 0.
Yeah, for 0.
And then, I have this attachment here that is ready to go that gives me 3 more shields back.
But let's also be real with this, Zach. Let's not be fools about this. You're doing 3 damage to yourself, straight up. That's what's happening. Because if you weren't doing it, your opponent would eventually have to do it.
Well, unless you have a recurring way to get shields.
Yeah, sure.
which if you do...
Or if your opponent's not attacking you.
Yeah.
Is another example.
But I think the more common is going to be you have more things that give you shields than your opponent has to take them away.
Yeah.
And you're using that extra shield benefit to just stack on damage.
It's like, for instance, let's say that I've got a force protection that's showing the special symbol, and I know that I can get 3 shields whenever I want, and my Qui-Gon is already shielded to 3.
Yeah.
So let's repost
Which
it
is
and
the
then
cap.
use the die.
Yeah,
that'd be great.
Which is great, and it's just very fit. The fact that that's how the Jedi are doing damage is hilarious.
But will it work?
We'll see.
We'll see.
You can make it happen.
We'll see.
All right, next up. Oh, yes.
Wow, just beautifully
yes.
dark here on the art. I like
Villain
it.
card, Abandon All Hope. 2-cost event, force an opponent to choose to either lose all of their resources or discard all cards in their hand.
It's true. It's true. Okay, so here's what I've noticed about this card, though.
Not as good as you think
It's
it is.
not as good as you think it is.
The first time you play it, your opponent's like, I had 5 resources and 5 cards, and you made me get rid of one of those 2.
and it was the unicorn situation, basically, because...
Well, you were saving up for like some expensive card, and you didn't know this card existed because we were brand new to the game, and it was like, I'll pay 2. You want to discard 5 cards or 5 resources?
Yeah. So they're a really good... This can be really good.
Yeah. And honestly...
But it can also be really not good.
Like, let's say you save a resource at the end of a turn. You have one you can't spend. You get 2. We're going to the next turn. I'm first. If my first action is spend 2, and it's you either lose all your
Discard
resources
3 or lose all the hand.
or all your hand.
It's got to be the resources.
You got to get rid of the resources. You can't just be out of hand. What are you doing?
And -5 cards is ultimately getting you closer to the end of the game where you are going to lose.
You're not going to choose cards.
Yeah.
You're just not. Because if you get rid of the cards, what are you saving the money for?
Yeah.
Like your next turn? It's not happening. But when that happens, you think about it, it's like you're going to pay 2 for at least 2 resources, maybe 3, maybe 4 if things are wild. Is that the exchange you want to be making? I don't know.
It's usually about 3 cards versus 2 to 3 resources is what this looks like. 4 cards if you're lucky. So I don't know. I think this is, again, a card that like you kind of run for a while, and then you're like, I think I could do better than Abandon All Hope.
Now, I will say, and we don't have any information at all on this. I have heard nothing, but in the event that there's ever draft or sealed, that is a very powerful card. Because there'll just be turns where it's not super efficient. You don't have, and you're building up resources, and then you nuke them for
you make it happen
for some stuff.
Yeah. Let's move on to Mind Trick, the Perennial, the classic.
It's neutral.
Oh,
so
look at old sneaky old Ben back there too. He looks perfectly in the shadows. 2-cost event. It is for the neutral side of life. So both sides can run this. Everybody pay attention. Spot a blue character to force an opponent to split their dice pool. It's this card. I forgot about this.
Yeah, this card's so good.
Into 2 groups of any size. Choose 1 group and remove all dice in it. It's just good.
This card is awesome.
I love this card.
If your deck, I haven't seen really a deck yet that's like 4 Stormtroopers and then a bunch of supports where it's all divided dice and you can do like 1 or 2 at a time. In general, you typically have a character or 2 that you're putting lots of upgrades on and they're rolling 3 or 4 dice. Even if you just have like a 4-die character, roll the dice, and then my next action is, okay, split those in 2. I'm going to discard 2 of them.
It's beautiful.
2 for 2 every day of the week.
Yeah.
If you happen to have gone with 2 or 3 characters and you've got 5, 6, 7 dice out, woo, watch out.
And now there are some interesting things you can do. You really need to think about this when it happens to you. How to truly divide these dice pools.
It's a fun little game.
Because sometimes you can really screw it up. But like things to look for is 1 special symbol and like 3 like damage or control-y dice.
Sure.
Does your opponent want to give
or
you
like
the special symbol?
Special symbol with a plus side, and then 2 that just do damage. And it's like, you want to give me the raw damage, or you want to leave me with a special
question marks,
reroll,
etc.
But in general, I think 2 to pretend like you're generally going to get 2 or 3 dice off of this.
Yeah.
And that's good.
And that's great. Yeah.
That's a
and
good
you can, with the potential to get a lot more. So again, it's high impact. Sometimes it won't do as much as you want, but it seems to always. I mean, it will always do something.
Sure.
Which makes it great.
And honestly,
it'll always get at least 1 die.
Even if they have a die left, and it's like, all right, split those into 2.
Yes.
Like 2 for the right die, I'll pay every day of the week. We get to the end of a turn, you have the 3 left on Vader, and it's like, I'm going to pay 2.
Yes.
Remove it.
Either, do you want my 0 die pool or my 1 die pool? It's like, I'll take the 1 die pool.
The 1. Anyways, I think this is a good card. As compared to like Abandon All Hope, I think this is useful on almost every turn. and it's going to provide some. This is a card you'll see. You'll
All
just see
right,
it.
mind trick indeed. Well, there you have it, guys. The blue cards.
We did it.
The Force. There we have it.
The Force has awakened.
So we've seen the red cards. Go check that article out. We've seen the blue cards. We're going in order of the Pokemon series here on our personal
Red,
recordings.
blue, and soon to follow
Next
yellow.
up is yellow, where you can catch a Farfetch'd in the wild. That is the most important part of that game. Thank you for watching. We have plenty more coming for Star Wars Destiny, including any number of products, videos, articles, blogs. I guess an article is a blog.
Events?
Events.
I mean, just crazy
yeah,
stuff.
Events. Actually, we've got the pre-release upcoming, right?
Yeah, I don't know when it's going to happen in relation to this, but sure to be lots of awesome right here in Tulsa.
If you missed it, I'm sure we'll have videos for it.
That's
Yeah,
right.
stay tuned. Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you on the yellows.
See you guys.